What's up guys? Today we're doing an install of a front splitter on a Kia Stinger GT. Now this one's actually a premium, it's a 2.0, and the 2.0 has a different bumper, but the front bumper on this one was swapped with the GT bumper, and it just ends up making things fit a little bit differently when it's a 2.0 versus a GT. Now, to install a front splitter on this car, you're going to first go along the front and find the pop clips. There's a pop clip here that's missing, there's one missing there, and then you got them along the front. So there's 6 total. Now, as you can see, these front trays are just destroyed. It seems like everybody destroys them within about, I don't know, 30,000-40,000 miles of driving, and they got to replace it. So the splitter we're offering today is going to mount up front, then have a removable under tray, and then another removable under tray further back. So it's going to be a nice complete set. So first start off by removing those. As you can see, those 2 are already removed. You're going to use a flathead screwdriver and maybe a pop remover, like a pop clip remover. It's shaped like a U. I'll show you that one too. But to remove it, you'll want to get your flathead screwdriver and jam that screwdriver right in between the crevice on that pop clip and pop it open. Just like that, and that thing should pull out. Some of them are going to be flimsy, some of them will break, that's fine. You're not going to need them anymore. Alright, so once you've removed the 6 clips along the front, you're going to remove these 2 clips on each side of the car that are holding this flap or the fender well to the under tray. There's 2 here, and then there's 2 on the other side. As you can see, these ones were Mickey Moused on. It looks like the clips might have broken off. So we're just going to move these screws that somebody stuck in there. So we successfully removed those 2 on that side, but these 2 we need to, we're just going to use the same screw head size that was used when these were Mickey Moused on here. Alright, so after you remove the clips along the front and the clips that hold the fender well to the under tray, you're going to remove the 5 or 6, looks like there's 6, the 5 10mm head screws here and the 6th one in the back. And finally, you're going to remove the 11mm nut. It's a plastic nut that holds this whole under tray onto the car. Now you're going to install your splitter into the original holes on the car. So on this GT bumper here, across the front, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. And then in the last 2, you're going to mount into the fender well here. So you're going to have 8 across the front in total, including these holes on each side. And you're going to use this really nice hardware we supply. So these are metric bolts. It's got M6 threads, countersunk, so you won't see the silver head. You're only going to see the nice black head, and then we're going to use a nylock nut and washer on the top. Okay, so now I have all of these 8 screws mounted onto the car. I've got 6 along the bumper, and then I've got 2 on the fender wells that meet up with the splitter. The next step is to tighten all of them, and then we can continue on and drill into the actual bumper for the remainder of the screws. Alright, so we have all of those screws tightened there. There were 8. And we're going to drill into the bumper through these holes with a 1/4-inch drill bit. We're going to be doing the front 11 that sit just under the bumper, and once we're done we'll be installing the next set of bolts and nuts. All right, so we've got our 11 holes drilled right into the bumper. Use a 1/4 inch drill bit as we discussed. And then I installed the metric bolts across the front in all 11 holes with the 10mm nut on top. So to tighten them, I'm going to be using a 4mm Allen wrench. And feel free to do this by hand. I got my torque turned down real low so I don't strip them. And then a 10mm wrench on the top. And I'm just going to go ahead and tighten them all across the front here. Okay, so we've got the front splitter all mounted, and we actually slid in our skid plate that goes in between the splitter and the back side of the mounting points here. Now, you kind of need to finagle it in there. It's going to slide in this way. Up above, I kind of pushed it all the way to one side of the car and got this other side in, and it sits above the splitter. You can, and once you got it all in there, the bolts should line up with the holes above it. So there's 2 holes, and these bolts here, you're gonna just run them along the bottom. You don't need to reach in on the top for nuts or anything, and tighten it down. All right, so I have all of these screws along the front mounted directly to the tray, and I'm gonna take the same bolt combination. I'm gonna slide it through the fender well piece here, this plastic piece, and onto the under tray. I gotta use a nut on top and a washer, just like normal. Unlike the tray that mounted without a nut, which is really nice. And we can go from there. Now, I've got these bolts mounted to the fender well, and I can now mount the back side of the skid plate onto the radiator support. You're going to use these metric bolts, 10mm head, 10mm wrench on the top, and a 20mm spacer between the skid plate and the frame. Alright, so we got our screws mounted between this tray and this tray, and we're gonna do our last bolt, just put it back in the original tray, right in the center. And you're done. You got the whole thing mounted, you're good to go.